In this section, I'd like to continue our discussion about how to determine what iOS software image is appropriate for you to use, not only from the standpoint of what's appropriate that can actually run within GNS3, but will support the features and protocols that you want to practice in your lab. And so that's why I've titled this particular section Feature Sets, because that's what we're really going to focus on here right now. So, you know at this point that you need to somehow get a hold of some Cisco iOS software. We've already talked a little bit about what software is runnable or that you can do within GNS3. There's certain platforms that GNS3 can emulate, other platforms that it can't. So we've already talked about that. So the next thing is, once you've identified the platform that you want, now you have to figure out, if you have a choice, that is, what feature set you want to use for your particular lab that you want to create, or what feature set of software you want to import into GNS3. So in order to do this, like I mentioned in a previous video, the thing you're going to want to go to is, as we see right here, the Cisco Feature Navigator. Now, before we go to all these bells and whistles here, I always recommend, if you can get a hold of it, if you can get your hands on it, no matter what platform you're dealing with or what version of software you're dealing with, 12.3, 12.4, 15.2, if you can get your hands on Advanced Enterprise, that's sort of the big, beefy iOS software that covers everything, that's always pretty much a surefire bet that that will cover the features and protocols that you want to test. So even without going to the Feature Navigator here, if you have access to some sort of Advanced Enterprise flavor of Cisco iOS, 99.9% of the time, that version will do whatever it is that you need to do in your GNS3 lab. But for the purposes of explanation, let's say that you don't have that exact image and you have to choose from some other ones. Okay, so from here, right from the Feature Navigator, once again, how you get to this? Well, you can just start at Google and just type in Cisco Feature Navigator, and you can see right there, it comes right up. You can click on it, and notice in the upper right-hand corner here that I'm not even logged in. Right? It says log in. So you can access this Feature Navigator even without a Cisco login at all, which is kind of nice. So from here, you click on down here where it says Research Software. So click on that. In my particular case, I'm going to do it based on platform. I know that I want to use a 3725 or a 3745 because I know that that particular model, among a couple of others, also supports the EtherSwitch module. So I can use that router for both switching and routing. And I'm going to select iOS, my platform in this particular case. I'm going to scroll down through the available options. Well, usually it gives me some available options here. There we go. It's a little sluggish today. So I'm just going to find in my list here, let's say 3725, and I'll just pick a version, whatever's available here in this list. Once again, unfortunately, their website or possibly my browser is a little sluggish. There we go. All right. So let's do 12.4T. And for the release, let's do, how about, I'll just pick one here, 11T8. And now for the particular features. So let's just pick one out of the hat here just to check. So let's say I did IP+. So it's going to search for that version and that particular feature set. I don't even know if that particular feature set is available on this, but yep, clearly it is. So there we go. And down here in this section, right now it's thinking about it, it lists all the features and protocols that this particular software supports. Okay. And you can see there's quite a bit of stuff, but notice there's also a lot of stuff that's missing. I mean, for example, this thing right down here says page 1 of 1. So there are no more pages. So whatever features you see in this list here, that is what you can do with this particular flavor of Cisco iOS software. Now there's still a lot. Okay, so if I scroll over a little bit here, now I can scroll down a little bit and see more options. So let's just expand my browser window a little bit. Maybe fit some more stuff in there. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So let's see, I'm going through this list here and I see, okay, I see a lot of stuff. I see BGP, I can see in here Ceph, Cisco Express Forwarding. I can do some QoS stuff, class-based marking. So even this particular feature set, if this was all you had available, which was IP+, still a lot of stuff you can do in here. So if you plan on creating a GNS3 lab and you're wanting to test a particular thing, a particular feature, find the software in here first and make sure that this software you're about to get your hands on will support the feature that you want to accomplish. There's nothing more frustrating than going through the hassle of obtaining some Cisco iOS software image only to discover, hey, I want to test out multicast and this particular software doesn't support it. I'm trying to type in multicast commands and it's giving me an error message. It doesn't recognize the commands. So you've gone through all that hassle to download some software and the command line doesn't even recognize the commands because you're trying to activate some feature or protocol that's not available in that particular software. So be aware of that. If you are one of those lucky people that have a choice of what Cisco iOS software to download and use within GNS3, this is one of the things you're going to have to think about, finding the appropriate feature set.